this is a great meditation for the cure of anxiety, of worry and flurry, and of doubt. These three things. Now, this is the most pervasive ailments in our, generally in our society, in modernity actually. Anxiety being number one. So most people try to deal with anxiety by thinking through the things that they think are making them anxious. This is also the case for doubt. When you're in doubt, you can't figure things out, so you try harder, you start thinking about things. Worry and flurry, again, you're agitated, you can't sleep, you can't rest. What do? You try to think of a solution. So this is where breath meditation is absolutely wonderful, because the nature of breath meditation, its primary purpose is to reduce or eliminate discursive thought. Discursive means talking, an inner dialogue going on. Now, this dialogue can be going on at very rapid paces and very disjunct type of thought, and the thought can be full of paranoid and distorted ideas. So notice, of course, that is generally advice through history is what's the first thing you do when in an emergency is calm down. But how do you calm down? Who knows how to calm down? You don't get taught this in school. They just tell you, calm down. No clue as to how you do this. So now this is the investment in breath meditation. Breath meditation, you practice a lot ahead of time. You don't have to wait until you're worried or anxious or in doubt. You need to practice. You need to put in hours and hours and hours. And with breath meditation, remember, it's virtually always done in the sitting posture. It's the least conditional posture. In other words, there's nothing else going on. You're not walking. You don't have to look where you're going. You're not lying down. Why are you not lying down? Because you might go to sleep. So sitting is the least conditional, and you should be sitting with your back straight and self-supported. And so this is the power posture which you're developing. You're developing a physical and psychological combination here, and putting hours and hours and hours into this. And when you get results from this, and yet you simply have to persist until you get results. The results may not come in a day, in a week, in a month, even in a year. If it hasn't come in a year, you need to spend more time or longer durations of time. You should be, by this time, up to an hour in sitting. But you need to get to the point where you feel your mind is settling down. You're starting to get the benefits of this. What are some of the characteristics, objective characteristics that indicate that your mind is settling down? The best way of measuring is respirations per minute. When your non-discursive, fully conscious mind is working without this element of thinking and motion and so forth, your requirement for oxygen reduces. And so your respirations per minute will go down. You should learn to count the respirations per minute and just sit there with your eyes closed, start a clock and count to 30 exhalations. At the end of 30 exhalations, each one is a full respiration. Then look at your clock and find out how many minutes went by, and then evaluate. You should be at least below 4 breaths per minute. Truly, to be in the neighborhood of samadhi, you can easily get to about 2.5 breaths per minute. But this is an objective scientific measurement. By the way, at the time of the Buddha, they didn't have things like clocks and watches. They couldn't give you this advice, but they did tell you that breath will slow down. When it's slow, now your doubts, your anxiety, your worry and flurry has dissolved. And you're in a state of serenity. Stay there as long as you can. When you come up out of it, now you can ask yourself, so what was the question that I wanted resolved, that I couldn't answer, that I was in doubt about? You might find about 95% of all doubts actually are dissolved. You do not have to solve the problem. It was a product of excessive thinking. 95% of your worries, your flurries, your doubts, and your anxiety is simply the activity of the mind, and no amount of discursive inquiry or thinking will achieve this. It's by dissolving these things that you accomplish the goal. And this is one of the most beautiful, effective methods. That is breath meditation. But you do have to put in lots of hours into this until it works. And then you have to remember, when you're in the midst of anxiety, worry, and flurry, you have to remember not to pursue the endless production of even more problems and difficulties through the discursive activity. You have to say, now is the time to stop thinking. That's how I will solve this problem, by first dissolving. If there are problems remaining, you need then to consult another person, either through a book or in person, to help you solve your difficulties, your problems. But primarily, 95% will be dissolved through breath meditation. The remaining should be interaction with a wise spiritual friend who knows you, has spent time with you, inquires into your situation, and can offer you some solutions. So between the two of these, you can deal with anxiety, you can deal with worry, and you can deal with agitation and doubt. So this is the absolutely indispensable medicine for this pervasive modern condition. So that should be looked forward to in your practice of breath meditation.